Good day, everybody. During the lockdown, I have now been proper bored as well, and I thought I'd share something that's very dear to me personally, and that is my music. I decided to create a few, what would I call it, online tutorials to teach you how to hopefully read music, understand music, and hopefully by the end of a few videos be able to play something on the piano as well. So the first lesson is not going to really consist much of the piano itself, just the music theory, in order for you to understand the basics of music. In my opinion, there are two basic elements of music, if you really break it down to the simplest of forms, and that is the letters or the notes, and the second part would be rhythm. So for the first video, I'm just going to show you how to read letter names and how to distinguish letter names on a piece of music. So firstly, if we stop there, you might need a pen, a paper, and a ruler. So I'll quickly give you guys a gap to go fetch something like that. Here we go. Okay, hopefully you've got your pen, your ruler, an eraser can be helpful as well, and a piece of paper. Okay, so first element of music, again, just a recap from what I said previously, is the note names or the letter names. This would include your or bring forth the pitch in a piece of music. So how high or how low a piece of music is, or a note specifically is. In music, we have 7 letters. So we've got A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and then once you hit G, you go back to A. So it's going to be A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and then the next note, very next note after that would be A again. So, and then you go again, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. So 7 notes, seven letter names, and that's all there is to music. Now, if you look at the piano there in the back, you'll see there are much more, or many more. I'm Afrikaans, so the grammar will always be a bit of a hindrance, or what would they call it? An obstacle for me. So please excuse my grammar mistakes. But you can see on the piano there are much more than 7 notes on the piano. So if you start A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, there has to be a system where you can determine which A on the piano you should play, or which B on the piano you should play, etc. So in order to do that, we create a musical staff. So I'm just going to pause the video here to create to the next bit to show you a musical staff and what it consists of. Back to the music. So a musical staff is a method in which us musicians try to denote, or not try, we actually manage it, and in which we denote music. So it consists, if we take the piece of paper here, it consists of 5 lines and 4 spaces. So if you have a look here, you're going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lines, and in between every 2 lines there would be a space. So you've got 1, 2, 3, 4 spaces. So if I have to refer to line number 4, you would always count from the bottom, so it's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4. So that would be line number 4. And just another example, space number 2 would be from the bottom again, 1, 2. Okay, hope you guys got that. Okay, so to distinguish between the different areas of the piano, we have what we call clefs. Just need to open my PC here so I can look at my notes. So a clef would fix this musical staff to a specific part of the piano. There are quite a few different clefs, but for beginner music we're only really going to use 2 clefs, and that would be the treble clef and the bass clef. So if you think of it, anybody who has dealt with music a bit, or even pitch or frequencies, you'll know that treble would be the higher frequencies. So if we look at the piano from the middle upwards, that would be notes denoted by the treble clef. Okay, and from the middle of the piano all the way back down, that would be your bass clef. Okay, so now I'm gonna show you how to draw these two different clefs. Okay, so hopefully you guys can properly see that. If we have a clef, so again, or a staff is 5 lines, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lines, and we've got the 4 spaces. For the treble clef, just reiterating again, that would be the top part of the piano. We start on the second line over there, okay, and you go, let me just put this a little bit there, okay, and to do the treble clef, you go around, don't touch yet, go back down, touch the bottom line, go back up, right through the middle, and at the bottom. And there is your treble clef. Okay. On the treble clef, this now fixes our notes down. Okay. To the top part of the piano. Okay. The second clef we've got, which if you can remember correctly, would be the bass clef. So bass clef, we start on the second line from the top, which is actually not the second line. It is called the 1, 2, 3, 4th line. Okay. Again, you start there. You can make a little dot if you want to. I'm just doing it for illustrative purposes. Okay, you go down, touch the top, and stop somewhere there, and add 2 little dots at the side. And that would be your treble, bass clef. Sorry, not treble clef. This is treble. So let's do this. This is treble. And this would be your bass clef. Just some notes again. Treble would be the top part of the piano, and the bass would be the bottom part of the piano. Okay. Okay, like we've said before, we've got the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lines and the 4 spaces. Okay. Now there are a few rhymes that we can use to remember these notes. So on each of these music staffs we can put a few notes. So you've got one on the line, on the line, on the line, on the line, and on the line. Okay, the other notes you can put on are in the spaces as such. Okay, so there are a few rhymes we can remember. Note names, and this is standard throughout music. This will not change at all. Okay, E, G, B, D, F. A little rhyme that you can remember there is every good boy deserves fudge. That would be the lines for the treble clef. So treble clef line notes is every good boy deserves fudge. Okay. On the space notes, it's also very easy to remember. It's a single word and each letter corresponds to a space, and it would be face. So the first note in the first space on the treble clef, that guy over there, would be a F. So we've got an F there. Okay. Similarly, at the bottom, you'll have the possible 7 notes. If you look at that, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and there again 1, 2, 3, 4. So not 7. I can count apparently. It's 9 notes. And similarly to that, you'll have the same on the bass clef. Again, a fairly easy rhyme to remember is great big diamonds flickers always. Okay, for the Afrikaans people that might be looking at this video, dis ek gaan baie daar fliek in die G-sleutel of the treble clef as they say in English, and in the bass clef it would be great big diamonds flickers always. It works in Afrikaans as well. Groot blink diamante flikker altyd. And for the space notes, you have 1 in that space, 1 in that space, 1 in that space, and 1 in that space. 4 of them. And here there is no Afrikaans rhyme that I know of, but it's all cows eat grass. So just a little bit of a zoom out there to show the letters here. We've got in the treble clef on the lines, every good boy deserves fudge, and on the spaces, face. And for the bass or the F clef, we've got great big diamonds flickers always on the lines, and all cows eat grass on the spaces. Okay, hopefully you guys caught what I tried to explain there. And here's just a bit of an exercise. So again, we've got the note staff on which we write our notes, which consists of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lines, 4 spaces. And this is just an exercise to test your knowledge if you understand what's happening here. So the first thing we have to check is what keys or what clef are we using. Okay, and if we look at the clef there, can you guys remember what that is? That would be the G clef or the treble clef. Okay, I call it the G clef. Let's just quickly go back here a little bit. Why do we call it the G clef? If we look at over there, where did we start drawing this? We started it on the second line, right? And if you go across to see what note corresponds to that line, it's the G. Okay. Similarly, the bass clef is also called the F clef. And if we look at that, can you guys guess why? If you go up, we start on the 4th line, and the 4th line corresponds to which note? It would be the F. So it's also called the F clef. So just in case in following videos I refer to this, you know what I'm talking about. Okay. So just for exercise purposes, let's look at these two and see if we can determine which notes are written on the two staves. Okay. First one, we've got the G clef or the treble clef, right? Okay. Let's look at that first note. Can we determine a name for that? That would be on the 3rd line. And our rhyme for the lines, if you can remember it, every good boy deserves fudge, right? So we're going to go every good boy. So that would be a B. Okay. Shanana. The next one is on it's not on a line, it's on a space. Okay. And the space is a single word that we use to remember the notes, and that would be face. So F-A-C-E. So that would be an E. Okay. Here we go. Next one, we're back to the lines. So if we remember the rhyme for the lines, it would be every good, which would end up with a G. Okay. Second last one on the G clef, we've got a space again. Can you guys remember the rhyme for it? It would be face, right? So we've got F-A-C. Okay. And then the very last one on the G clef, we've got the very first line, and the rhyme would be every good boy deserves fudge. So we've got an E. Interesting enough, I don't know if you can spot this or realize this, but we've got an E over there and an E back down here. This means that this E is much lower than that E. And I'm quickly going to go back to the piano just so you can hear it, because hearing is obviously the biggest part of music, right? So if we look at the very first E, which is that one, it's a high E, it sounds something like this. Okay, and if we look back down at the second E over there, it's a lower E, so it's going to sound something like this. Okay, so the difference between the two E's, the first E and the second E. You can hear the second one, similarly to the music, is fairly lower than the first one. Okay, then we quickly run to the F clef. Okay, can you guys remember the rhyme for the F clef? It is great big diamonds flickers always, right? So on the lines, great big, this would be a B. Then we've got that one, which is on a space. There's only an English rhyme for this one, if you guys can remember correctly. It's all cows eat grass. All cows eat. Okay, so we'll end up with an E over there. Then we've got the top line. Again, back to the line rhyme for the bass clef or the F clef, right? So it's going to be great big diamonds flickers always. So that is a high A. Okay. And then the very bottom one, can you remember the rhyme for the spaces? This note is in a space, it's not in a line. So we're going to have all cows eat grass, so it's going to be an A. Okay, we've got one left, and that would conclude our lesson as well. And it's back on a line, so it's going to be great big diamonds. There we go, guys. I hope you've learned something and can now, even if it takes a bit of time and sounding a little bit like a kindergarten kid again with your rhymes, it does help, however. You can distinguish which notes are which on a musical staff, depending on, of course, the clef that's in front of the staff. In the video, I'll add a link to some material that you guys can use as exercise. Unfortunately, music is like maths, so you have to exercise, you have to practice, and you have to do hundreds of these little guys in order to be able to read music really fast as you play it. So I'll put the link in the description, and you guys can go and choose a bunch of them and practice and see if you can distinguish the note names. Please let me know in the comments or in even a private message if you enjoyed the video and if it helped you. I'll see you again sometime soon.